online, it shows up on the lines.
Yes.
Where do you,
Yeah, I think it's
Meeting order.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Welcome everyone to the June meeting of the board.
Rich, here, Nick,
Here,
Dan,
here,
Ryan,
here.
hi Terry.
All right. Public session for agenda item only. Hearing none, moving on to the district building report, Chief Casino.
I've got really nothing. Everything we talked about was last month again. We just had a few little things to clean up. I know there's other things coming on the agenda there that you guys are gonna speak about, so I'm not gonna take any time up. But I'd just like to thank you guys for the plaque. That was very well appreciated by me and my family, that you recognize me for that. So just thank you very much for that. That's all I got.
And on that, all right, moving on. Department president report, Chief Wilson. Or Dr. Wilson.
All right, and I know we don't have to, but I think it's important that we do let you know, we have a new social member, so we will let you know if there's a social member. Because they will be walking around, an individual that's over by Chris, Charles Carp, I believe he's a member, we have Long Island somewhere, older guy looking to hang out with us, so that's gonna be a nice little plus for us to talk to somebody. We're also looking to see if we can get approval from the fire district regarding the district application electronically, planning and converted. Zach Rimmer, who's been working on this for us, if it's easier if you get any questions, but we're looking at convert it so it's easier for people to fill it out. We're already approved to do our application, but we'll see if we can do a district one too, to get the approval. We're still working on either for the district property and our property. So unpacking boxes, either or not. The auxiliary will be submitting several building use forms, for the next meeting. They try to get us meeting after our meeting, which we got to first before you guys. In an effort to compile our membership data, we asked the district if the way we get the LoSAP eligibility list for our members. The one I really need is we're looking for Patrick Hannigan stuff from previous LoSAP completions so that we can check his status before requesting the life membership. The open renovation items, Bobby and I have talked a lot about the top three there, the Zoom and the TV move, all that stuff. The Spectrum box downstairs is one thing you guys keep asking about. I know Bobby was working on that. They were supposed to give us one. We submitted our district voucher for the inspection here. Thank you very much for the reimbursement for that. And at our membership meeting, it was approved that they're going to name the meeting room here after Joey for all his hard work in the renovation project, which is very much appreciated. And we just want to thank Commissioner Miller for inviting Michelle from Page Insurance to our last meeting. She had some LoSAP questions. She did reply to us. I don't know if I sent it to you, but she gave us one of the questions back, which we posted title in, which I shared with the membership upstairs and downstairs. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anybody want to talk about the district application being brought on?
Sorry, everyone. So actually what I did was I used Google form. So basically I took the entire application, I actually have it on December now. So it's into Google form, so it's an easy fillable form. Because if it's a PDF, it still have to then take that and email it to someone, where this actually comes to alter into the QR code as well. And once they scan the QR code, take them to the form, Google form, fill it out, and as soon as they fill it out, it automatically gets sent to whatever email we want it to go to. And then we automatically just check that email once a week or something, and when we see the application come through. It's an easy way that we can actually market as well, so that QR code just can be posted everywhere. Or within our marketing campaign, so it goes to social media, so that way people can easily scan it or click on the link to the form, so that way it's taking away that step of coming here to get their application or that kind of thing. So it's an easier way to do it, and we can look at it through the website, so.
The only process difference would be the down the money, which is the $5.
And then maybe the first time you see them in person, they could actually a hand signature.
And that's my question, that's one of the questions, especially the stuff, you know, saying that, I don't know if we thought about the idea of the arson background check, that stuff has to be filled out. I don't know if we want to have that, it's secure enough to put there.
That's one thing that, I mean, Google, whatever email it's going to would be the one that social security number would be on. So it's up to the person to if they're comfortable with filling out social security on Google form, but whoever has access to that email is going to want to see it.
I don't think you usually send in the arson background check until after the fire department's talked to somebody.
Correct, so we're gonna meet with the boss, making sure that the form is done. That's,
But I think that's a great idea for both fire companies, and the district, because the generations have changed, you know?
100%.
And the young folks that we're trying to attract right now are used to doing things online like that, make it as quick as simple as possible, you know?
Again, and most of the time, the applications go out, these guys see a person walk in and say, I'm interested, so we give it to them. There's no interaction. This way, if they fill it out, we're bringing them here, that's for the first time, right? Fill them out, then we can get the rest of the information, and they can decide what they want.
I think it's a great idea.
Terry was just saying, we really shouldn't be asking for the social security number on the application.
I don't think, after I said, I don't think it's, I think the last time we did it, maybe the chief knows, but I don't think it was needed for the arson back.
You need the DOB and the social security number. All rise, attention on deck. Sorry about that, I just digress on my respect for authority. You're not supposed to have, and that information be taken afterwards, you know, you don't want to have that.
I mean, the sheriff's office does it for us, I'm almost positive, last time, we didn't have it on there, and it was all right, they were able to buzz the check. Without.
You would driver's license number or social security number,
Something.
but as a general rule, somebody's employer in their material says you're not supposed to put it on the application.
And I'll just add one thing too, so when I was going through and making this application, I did look at the North English, like the overall district, application, as well as the Lionsville and the Creesville application. There's a lot of overlap and duplication of questions, so I did condense it actually onto one form, and it, just the way I made the form, I can usually change it, but it actually, when you get to the end of it, you choose which department you want to apply to, and then that'll take you directly, depending on which one you choose, it'll direct you to a few more questions that are specific to the district. So the general questions like name, phone number, email, date of birth, all that stuff is general. But then based on what department you choose and what department wants different questions on, I can have it so that way based on their logic of data that I put in, it will then direct them to different questions basically. So there's a couple different ways to do it, and I'm happy to do that. So.
There is a lot of redundancy in the applications. So possibly like a copy of that, just so we can also, look at it, and, maybe improve this, because it would be, I kind of handle dual hats, being membership secretary with Breesville. You get 3-4 page applications times 2, and you look at the information, it's all the same stuff. So, for these people coming in, it's for process. It'd be nice to be able to get this basically one application. At the end of the day, they start with the company, you vet it, and whichever path it goes, if it's going to be company supporting whatever, it just stays there, and maybe there's a certain section that gets forwarded to the district for them. the last part, but basically any member comes in, pretty much goes to the whole company. At the end of the day, it's almost like, yeah, you guys did your job already, so it's 22 applications.
The excuse that we've always done it that way just doesn't cut it anymore. So anything we can do to streamline it, I think we can done everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Mr. Chairman, could I comment on the Spectrum thing? Okay, so we did hear back late last week from Spectrum Government Affairs Division. That's who they have to ship it to. And they did grant to give a courtesy Spectrum business lineup for downstairs. I'm just waiting for the DocuSign to come in from our rep. So I would think within the next 2 weeks, we should get that hooked up.
Thank you, sir.
All right, DFD President's Report, Chief Steer.
Yes. So in regards to social, in my prior life in law enforcement, the social security is important when you're doing a criminal background check because the system does the process of elimination of people, and that's one of the numbers that helps eliminate other people and make a positive ID. So it is helpful. Yeah. Yeah, but it's, I always wanted it when I was running criminal history. DFT voted in 3 new supporting members this month. Laura Waltz, is the fiance of Alex Crescenti. Samantha Zillow Spooner, is the spouse of Eric Spooner, the firefighter. And we voted in Sean Murdoch as a supporting member. Sean, many years ago, served for 17 years in our department, was a very active firefighter. He was diagnosed with MS and was unable to perform the tasks anymore, and eventually just kind of drifted away from us. But more recently, he's expressed interest to be a part of the organization again. And so we voted him back into the department. Look forward to him coming around, even though he is in a wheelchair. And you know, we can leave some social events, come to meetings, and we had a work detail at the station on May 6th. At the firehouse. We did identify some things where we needed more supplies, and Bob's got those supplies ordered, and hopefully we'll have another detail to finish off those tasks. Our recruitment committee attended a recruitment event at Columbia High School down in East Greenbush. It was a multi-agency recruitment day at the high school. That was on May 30th. It was pretty successful. There was a lot of interest, but we didn't get any applications yet, so we're hopeful. We'll see what happens. Also, our recruitment committee, headed by Gary, attempted to hold a virtual live chat session on social media online regarding men and women volunteering as firefighters. It was very well planned out. She had a lot of different interviews to be done live online, but there just wasn't a lot of people that signed in to see it. So unfortunately, they scrapped it, had a recruitment meeting, and they're planning to do like a pre-recorded type podcast, if you will, of interviews in the firehouse, get their locations. So hopefully that'll be released sometime in the near future. Our department meeting is changed from July because of the July 4th holiday. We're going to have our meeting on July 10th. FYI. Our tri-department softball team, which is comprised of Lansfield, Freesville, and Dearborn Park, has been undefeated. Figured I'd let you know that. And I believe they have one more game against you. Am I right, everybody? Yeah. So hopefully they'll kick butt as they have been and go undefeated. We honored life member Teddy Williams at our meeting. Teddy's been a long-time member of these 6 years. He turned 96 this month, so we honored him, and you might see that on social media. That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, approval of fire month minutes.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Good report.
Treasury report is in the digital Dropbox. Thank you, actually, sign off on. Enjoy the read. Let's see. The money market account had a reconciled balance as of May 31st of $1,113,815. We earned $1,917 worth of interest for the month. Year-to-date interest on that account was $8,879. The WFP project fund account that we have has a reconciled balance of $392,808, earning $676 worth of interest for the month, $3,318 year to date. Our general checking account had a reconciled balance of $804,502. Interest for the month was $1,477. Interest for the year, $6,548. Attached to the overall report are copies of the bank reconciliations, copies of all the canceled checks and bank statements, copies of a listing of all the checks that were cut during the month of May, with the payee's name, check number, dollar amount, and then the final page includes the final 3 pages are actual to our expenditures for the month or for the year, basically. Same report as last month.
All right. Resolution to report.
So resolved.
Second by Rich, roll call vote.
Rich. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Brian. Aye.
Right, moving on. Approval of the current month's invoices.
I just, read them over today and got the last 3 tonight when I got here, for you today. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Everything looked pretty copacetic.
Make a resolution. Ed.
Yeah, make a resolution that we pay the bills.
I'll second it. Roll call vote.
Rich. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan. Aye. Brian. Aye.
Correspondence, Steve.
Hey there, okay, so we received the M&T end of the month collateral statement. We got the email from the deputy director for revisions to the MOU related to CAD. We received the revised Rensselaer County MOU for CAD, records management, mobility, access. And that's all, that'll be under old business. Refund check from Staples for $57.26. Received the FASD annual convention information. Check received from Bob Durivage for phone reimbursement. Associates of Fire Districts New York Commissioner Training Certificate for Commissioner McCray was received. And the VFIS new news spring and summer 2025. Also received.
Yep. 100%.
They're all scanned in.
We're on to old business. For the CAD. How do you want to do?
Basically, everybody's looking at last month, received no, despite requesting, I know there's some comments about, negligent use and stuff, but didn't get any feedback from any of the other commissioners in the room. There was a memo that was sent out by the county later on that was kind of clarifying some of the stuff. My only concern with it was the, you shall use the system, calling it with that kind of thing, but that was clarified that it's more, there's still going to be normal dispatch, and so we technically don't have to get iPads for every single vehicle the district owns. But that was my only concern with it, but I have no issues beyond that. I understand the negligent part, that's if we do something we reimburse. That's basically saying, if we screw up something, we do something, the county's harmless now, which makes sense. I mean, I'm sure there's kind of similar language go the other way too. So, personally, on my belief, I ask no reason why we cannot sign it. But, yeah. I know Rich,
I read it back over again. I did not read what you said, that it's just us. I mean, not a lawyer, I don't know how to read lawyerese. I read it as liability in either direction.
it was like user negligence. I don't know what we would do to be negligent with it, but.
I didn't read, but and then I got thinking about it, and exactly, what could we do to be negligent? I mean, go to the wrong address? I mean, I don't know. Pardon?
I said that's about the closest.
And then, I mean, And even, I don't know if that could be considered negligence, that could be, there's a difference between mistake and negligence. An error of negligence, but, I don't see, as long as we're not gonna be required to go out and buy, 7 or 8 more iPads at one pop. That was a big concern.
I have no issue. Dan, do you have any issues? That'd be a motion, right?
Resolution to sign.
You're right. Entertain a resolution to, so I can sign, MOU for the new CAD system that will be up and running. So, you second it, Ryan?
Damn, no.
You want to second it?
Oh, I thought you were making a resolution. I second it.
I was entertaining it, not just speaking it out. Roll call votes.
Brian.
Ryan?
Brian.
Hi.
Dan. Nick.
Aye.
Rich.
All right, moving on to new business. The Greenbush Fire Asset Inventory Disposal Board. Pull that up.
And expired bottles.
It's the SCA valve, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
You gotta make a motion for that, right?
Resolution.
Resolution for disposal. All right, make a resolution for the, for throwing away 10 Scott SCA bottles. Roll call vote.
Rich. Nick.
With disposal.
Okay.
Yeah, disposal for voting. Yeah.
Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Ryan.
Online auction contract, Drew authorized director of purchase the retail.
We've done really well with this process since Bob's undertaken it. So definitely, I think it's something we want to continue to do. So I'll make the resolution.
Signed.
This would be a resolution that we renew the contract.
I'll second. Roll call vote.
Rich. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Ryan.
Server replacement, computer replacements, WFD AV system upgrade.
All right, I've got quite a bit on that. I've been speaking with Bob on this, a lot of background work has been done. I'm not gonna read this verbatim, but all the commissioners have this in their Dropbox. It's a very detailed plan that Bob put together, but I'll summarize it. One, we need to replace our server. The district server, ours is about 10 years old. Usually get about 8 years out of it. We're 10 years old, so we're kind of beyond our useful life. We did look at like a district-owned server versus a cloud-based service. The cloud-based service would be $21,000 over 7 years, which is $3,000 a year. The district server, similar to the setup we have now, is $13,500. Let's recommend that we go with our own server. The one thing that just happened reading the news yesterday, this was actually after we spoke, that a lot of the hacking and things that are going on tend to be more with the cloud services. So I think that would also give us a little bit more security. So that's one of the recommendations. We also need to transition to Windows 11. The 9 district-owned computers we have, they're unable to be upgraded, so they would need to be replaced. Also, WFD has 2 computers they own that cannot be upgraded, and WFD has 1 computer that cannot be upgraded. The 3 computers that I just referenced are not part of the 11 computers that we're looking to replace, but Bob will work with DFD and WFD, the fire companies, on replacing theirs. That would be at their cost. So the plan for that is to replace the 9 computers, including the 2 additions, that's 11. Among these, purchased 2 laptops, one for WFD, one for DFD, to serve as an assistant chief or officer computers. They can also be utilized for training as well, and they can connect to the AV systems at each station. I'll get into the AV system here in a minute. We would repurpose Sean's laptop for either the DFD or WFD assistant chief, and we purchased Sean more advanced laptop, given his role. He really needs kind of the latest and the greatest. So the cost breakdown for that hardware is about $16,300. Bob did get another quote from Albany IT, but when you compare the equipment costs combined with the labor costs, we're better off sticking with Eclipse. We're currently using Microsoft 365 Business Premium through a TechSoup grant. That's going to expire. The new subscription is $33 per user. We're going to continue using our Dropbox, but we do need to upgrade that system. We're kind of maxing out the freebie. WFD upgrade. Bob has worked pretty closely with Jay Wilson and Joe Casino on this. We want to move forward. And if either of these guys want to give a little bit more information, you can, but I'll kind of summarize it here. We're likely looking at going with HIPPOs. We are getting an additional quote from a company called Storage Check. Just due to the cost of this proposal, it's about $25,000. So we really need to do our due diligence to make sure we're spending the taxpayer money wisely. But essentially, this would include some drop-down microphones, a drop-down camera, a 10-inch Benito controller. Am I pronouncing that right? Speakers, a low-profile wall rack for housing the equipment, and integration with a 98-inch TV. All would be professionally installed. The total cost of all of this, for the AV system, is $24,282. What I would like to propose tonight, even though we're going to get an additional quote. Oh, and I should note, Audio Video Corporation also gave us a quote. And that was significantly higher. But again, due to the cost, we want to get that third quote, but we also don't want to delay this project. So I'm going to propose tonight that we approve. We're going to give ourselves a little buffer up to $27,000. Authorize the chairman to sign the contract with, whether it be HIPPOs or if it turns out this other company, has some better ideas and we're within that cost limitation, or they're less money to sign that contract with one of those organizations. But we didn't really want to wait another whole month to get the other quote and then take action next month. So if the board is okay with us pre-approving this up to the $27,000, that would be good. And also, my resolution will include, we'll put a little buffer on there, $17,000 for the computers and the server upgrade. Did I leave anything out, Bob?
No, the only thing is, the funding source for the WFD AV project is still covered under the bond. And while I don't have a final closeout on that because we haven't received MJG's final payment, they still have some documents they owe to us. They haven't given them to us. We're still like about $25,000 plus in the contingency fund, and we're still way ahead of budget on the other unallocated money. So I mean, we're doing very well, and some of the other purchases from the computer end would also be coming out of the bond that was reviewed by the board and declared that yes, because it's an overall enhancement, it can be. So, not all this is going to be absorbed by like the general fund. The bond is going to cover a lot of these purchases, but as far as the breakdown, that's exactly right.
Jay, sorry.
I just had a question.
Jay, And Joe, I know you guys also put a lot of time into this. Anything you want to add?
I'm sorry, I would just comment, right now we have the HVAC shut down right after this meeting. If I do turn it on, you can hear the quality of the volume of noise that we have here. And we're working with the HVAC guy to dampen the noise out of here. That's why it's so quiet in here right now, because nothing's running. But, I mean, later on after the meeting, I can turn it on so you guys can hear the difference. And Bob will attest to it, something did need to get done.
But as far as this AV project.
Yes, the AV project with the microphones and all that for the acoustics, because in the wintertime and in the summertime, when those units are running, and we did fix them, so they shut off the temperature now. So again, it's quiet because nothing's running, and I have it manually off, but Bob will tell you, we went through this round and round and round with Ed and his group from the engineers and all that to try to find what we could do to dampen the noise, so.
Jay, anything you want to add on?
No, where we find it.
I'd say one question. I know last year we talked about the Crestron system over to Freesville. I know like previous, like when we had the bond over here for the Freesville station, we took advantage of that to upgrade some, like the phone systems and stuff in Lionsville and some different, district-wide projects. And thoughts about possibly maybe starting to replace. I know we, like I said, we discussed replacing the system, something similar over there. So I'm not saying this whole system, maybe like a TV or something, just kind of start that process going. I know we're going to do that at some point. I don't know if we really budget for it this year, but I believe it's on the list for longer term to Freesville renovation, so to speak. That system over there, I think the maintenance costs alone, just going to work on it. It's probably more than the TV would cost. So I don't know thoughts about that's legit. I know, like I said, I know previous bonds we've done district-wide projects. Not legal.
Look, yeah, the only feedback I'll offer to the board is, I think it was good that we actually stepped back a little bit with the TV, because we are getting a better TV here that's going to be a little bit larger. This TV is going to go over there. So now for training purposes, this is really going to be adequate here. The only thing that we found the need at DeFreesville was to get one large TV that could go on the front wall, so that if we have a problem with the AV system, the Crestron AV system, we're not out of luck. Because right now, when that system goes down, we're out of luck. So it's not really that costly of a situation to just get a TV there that, maybe we have to run a wire to it right now, but to Commissioner Prey's point, I don't know if that's something that could be covered out of the bond. It may not be able to be covered, or it could be, but that would be something that if we were to enhance that right now with the TV, at least it's a backup, because when we have problems with that system, it can be down for weeks, months, and the last time we paid close to $2,000 just to get a power supply fixed. So the board was aware of that.
So it's kind of two separate things. So
It is.
why don't we'll move forward with this, and then you're either going to be working with Hippos or possibly this other company, but it doesn't hurt to get their feedback and ask some questions.
Sure.
Over there, but for now, I'd like to propose a resolution to approve the spend up to $17,000 on the server and computer hardware as noted in the proposal, and up to $27,000 on the AV equipment upgrading installation for the wine and skill station.
I'll make that resolution.
What's that?
I will give you a second.
It's animated.
So roll call vote. Rich. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Brian.
All right, one more, move to new business, I believe it's the oil water separator grease trap to be pumped out at the Freesville. I'm correct, Bob, right?
If they had that work done there, there is some quotes going forward, fortunately, they weren't in bad shape, given over the years and stuff, but, I can bring you more of the detail, but there is some quotes in Dropbox there, that we, over the contract, Crystal Clean was like the lower bid. They're lower mainly because they're not working the caps and stuff where the preschool property committees agreed to, open that up, so to speak, for them, so that I believe it was 18 or 31 off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
it is.
Going for, I don't think there's any real issues, at least it wasn't like overflowing and stuff, but at least there's no confined space needed, no entry stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on in the oil and water separator tank. There's no indication for us to believe that there's a problem right now. However, we haven't cleaned it out since we've been there. But as I also indicated, we just cleaned out the in-ground 1,000-gallon grease trap tank, and that was in excellent shape. And fortunately, we were able to use that vendor from Poughkeepsie at a very reasonable cost to get that pumped out. So we're hoping the same applies to the oil and water separator. I will tell you that annually DFD cleans the inside the inside grates and cleans all the sand before it rains out. Thank you, Rich. They clean everything out, so that reduces a lot of sand going into that oil separator. So we're hoping it's not going to be too bad, but it has to be done, and this will be a good gauge for future years.
Especially if they're a good run with it, so. The resolution committee. Where we going? Chris Clean. I'll second. Roll call vote.
Rich, Nick,
Aye.
Dan, Brian,
Aye. All right, Martin Chief report. Evening one, so Chief Wilson.
Welcome back. I thought my main reports were attached to my pile of paper. I guess not, but I did follow for the box this morning. List of purchases were submitted. Part of physical start tomorrow and next week. His membership of June 30th deadline is needed, if not, their status will be changed. Fahrenheit and Paul, medical director, president, and a couple other important people up there, and they want to talk over their newest issue, their fire alarm system, and then that we can try to correct it. So myself, the facilities director, and their alarm company walked through all their cottages. The alarm system they have there is correct. It's the lack of ventilation to a kitchen that tries to feed 15 people 4 times a day. The kitchen that's meant to feed 5 people. You can't cook. Numerous months of food on a 4-burner stove. And everything else they have down there, expected to be ventilated properly with basically non-venting range. So they're looking into correcting that eventually. I did inform them that when they do have emergencies up there, that there's fall mountain was a backup. And of course, last weekend we had 2 falls up there, and the fall was a backup. What's going on there? One was a girl straightening her hair at 7:30 in the morning. And the next one was a resident discharging a dry chemical steam from the building. Sent the police there as well. I also advised the officers that there is an issue up there. The fire alarm right like that, make sure to document it, forward emails to the facilities director, who then goes to tell the president what's going on. Apparently she doesn't know. So hopefully that gets changed soon because that's reports I had the last 2 years went to Fahrenheit and Wall 110 times the last 2 years for cooking this house. So hopefully they can change that soon. I did inquire about facilities inspections. Sir Town Code Enforcement Officer said that the Office of Children and Family Services makes the local code enforcement officials do it, which apparently wasn't true because the facilities director told me that OC happens quarterly, and he just started sending me the reports of what they find up there. So we had some kind of documentation goes on what they're finding. Moving on to state training, there's 7 members complete between between Fire Officer 1 and BFO. One of those members of BFO is going to jump in the IFO class coming up. New members that are all set to go. There's 6 months up on states. 4 so far in the last couple of months. The 5th one just got our stuff dropped off at the last department meeting. I did have a question asked if it was possible to talk to Lynn Kane about maybe rotating the CMAs back and forth every year on even months and across town the odd months. Something you guys pay for, so we talked to her about doing that. Let's see here. Apparatus and equipment, PM service has been going along somewhat smoothly.
The rescue truck was there last month for a couple weeks, to get some work done. They submitted a report, what they found, what was done, what wasn't done, and that was forwarded to the rehab committee person, so they could take a look at that, their lists. When do you want the finalized report for that, so you can send out for a year end or RFP or, so the deadline for that?
As soon as your committee got it.
All right, cool. Whenever you're ready.
Oh,
No, whenever you're ready. Truck 42 that premiere now, doing the same OPM work. I talked to Jeff the other day on Friday to see what the status was. They had a couple outstanding issues that they're probably gonna have to fix prior to coming back to the past inspection. Other than that, shouldn't see anything else besides normal routine repairs and work from the government. Our Band-Aid has been in and out of service, PM work as well, hydro testing and SCBA zones were all completed. Memorial Day, we had 31 members participate, which is great. So in a few months, we're going to go up to Berlin for their 4th of July parade on July 4th. Valerie Van, talked with Camp Scully director about the fire safety prevention or presentation at the end of this month. And members spent a couple of days at the Wall of Heels event over in South, helping them set that up, and they had a really good time. Very informative. Just to follow up from last month, just the officer and firefighter qualification revision. That's all I got.
We got any questions for Chief? Thanks,
The
Dan.
T, sorry, you mentioned some of the TV monitors, like computer monitors being for the Irish.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Sign in.
Yeah.
Look at the picture, looks like you just glue the TV down there for like picture purposes, to show that it's too wide by the glasses.
They just wait the way it was on my phone, like
Okay.
button pasted it, and it's not to scale.
Gotcha. Did you try to, so are you looking for 2 new TVs, or are you looking for just a
So
little
we'll
bit?
do
or-
one. So the one that's down there now, so when you get downstairs, the one that sits up on the wall, you want to take that and move it to more of an eye level.
Because I got no access, yeah.
Right, the keyboard's up there, they can't access to it with the Mac or like that. And the other one, which had cracked out, it's a ladder truck, we just want to move that more down to a eye-friendly level.
Chief Brill, report period.
Yes, we had 2 firefighters complete their IFO training. They're in EFO now, or completed EFO, they're in IFO now. We have 2 new box alarms that came out approved today, and the county has them. They're for, gets us a second ambulance, second alarm, as well as cover assignments for DFD and flying skill. And Jeff here has a report for 9/6 apparatus maintenance and Knox trucks.
You want the 9/6 thing under apparatus maintenance or no?
Oh, we do under now because apparatus come up anyway, so.
All right, so, last week I went over to Premier with Jeff and his staff. 9/6 is about a little beyond 2/3 done with the rehab. Nothing major has come up mechanically, which is a good thing. The job is delayed a little bit because the truck was supposed to go down to Lake Catron and have the body work done. And they got backlogged with 2 trucks that were in accidents, and they need to push those trucks ahead and get them back to the departments on an urgent status. So that's why our job is being a little delayed. I'm told 9/6 is going to Lake Catron this week to their body shop. We did receive over the past month 2 quotes. One was added body work because they found more corrosion to the aluminum than what was anticipated in the quote. And that quote was for $9,437.50. And we also asked a quote for rollout trays for the 2 rear side compartments. The quotes for that was $2,796. As we know, the whole project cost and the contract was for $65,051.04. So with these 2 quotes, it actually pushed it over that. The district did approve
the cost up to $70,000 for the total project. So a lot of help with Bob and I sitting down. We identified items that we could reallocate out of the task list to cover a good portion of the overage. We reallocated funds that were not used for the air tank brackets. They did not have to replace the 3 air tanks for the brake system, so that saved us a good quantity of money. And we reallocated $5,500, which was meant for buffing, diamond plate, and detailing the truck and stuff, which they're gonna have to wax and clean the truck anyway because of all the body work they're doing. So the reallocated amount was $6,928. That brought us down to $70,356. And Jeff at Premier said 70,000 should do the job. So that's the agreed amount for the total cost, barring anything else they may find, but he is pretty confident he's not gonna find anything else. The only things left literally is the body work and a couple of small things that they're waiting for parts to come in, like reupholstery, the front seat reupholstery, the straps for the compartment doors, and things like that. So it's just a matter of time. I said, when can I anticipate the truck back? He said, probably mid-July. So I told him I hope. I don't want to hear the 2 weeks, the 2 weeks, 2 weeks job. They've been working with us, it seems, with the money part. So that's a good thing. I received an email saying that Knoxbox system has issued another update. So I think what I'm gonna do is invite Bill Miller over to plug the computer into our trucks and make sure they all receive the proper update. And
so he reached out to me a few weeks ago about this, and he was supposed to come up here. Yep. Because there was 2 trucks downstairs that weren't getting updates. Yeah. Right. So he was supposed to do this weeks ago. So, but 2 weeks. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean,
no.
Yeah, because we had guys that were punching in the codes.
They're not getting anything.
They're not getting anything. So like, you know, they fire update. Yeah. Which I sent you that email about.
Yeah.
So I want to verify that the latest update actually came in and it's working. The software for Alpine update, so we can actually do the truck inspections. I'm told by Alpine that they did create a solution for that. Bill Stewart and I are going to be trying it out. They apparently reallocated all their resources to the updated nippers to make sure their system is 100% compliant. They're done with that project, so that's a good thing. First Response 9 is going out for PM on the 24th of this month, and car 3 is out of service at Ferris due to a brake problem. That was it.
Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions about service?
Like, move along nicely. All right, DFG had no purchases. As you can see, the list of purchases that Weinstein had. Any questions on the purchases that the chief submitted?
No, just the one comment about the TVs, stuff that I'm responding, or something we should look at getting, or basically they're just requesting, there's no quote yet, but should maybe have Bob or Mike go out and get quotes for. He's requesting new computer monitors, replacing the sign-in area at the entry door. The one did break, right? Once the other
that's discrete style.
and the other one can move the TV down, so it looks like from the picture, the Photoshop picture, sorry, is we kind of stick it out over the glass and block them. There's someone that moves forward, getting possible.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, obviously not buy tonight, but it's just.
They're not gonna be that.
You know, every $100.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of replacing equipment.
I would think so.
Is that something they can buy Terry this month without waiting?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, it's just a cheap TV, right? That's right.
$55 for $300.
What's that?
That's more 55 for $300.
Yeah, you know, there's nothing that big.
Yeah. No.
Except for that, just make a resolution of $500 and replace the 2 TVs.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's only limited time.
That way you don't get held up.
I'll make that resolution.
Brian's making a resolution to purchase 2 TVs up to 500, so he's and Dan second it, roll call vote.
Rich. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
All right, we got one.
$500 on that?
And then
Yeah. All right, so, chief has, also they purchased total of $8,995.50. I'll make the motion to approve the purchase. Second.
second.
Resolution. Thanks, Mike. Brian second, roll call vote.
Rich. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Ryan. Aye.
Can't make a meeting without making one, that's one.
One.
Moving on to standing committee reports, apparatus, equipment, and paramedic operations. I know you guys had a lot of progress.
Yeah, we had a couple of meetings on truck board news committee, we had board fire commission meeting. As a result, we've further modified the specification we're working at. The highlights of changes are we gave the ladder size more nominal than it was before. We said, 93 or 96. We opened up, we said nominal 100-fold. So we just said, so whatever the manufacturers are selling around that 100-fold mark. But somebody's got 98, somebody's got 96, somebody's got 102. We didn't want to exclude anybody for have them redesign their ladder just to meet our arbitrary number. The other big change, if you will, it isn't a change, it's an option, is that after talking about it, we said we weren't necessarily just interested in a midshipman. We said we'd also look at remote. Talked to a couple of departments, seen a couple of applications where it seems to work. We talked to departments that have rear mounts, and they talk about how versatile they are, how much closer to the building they can get them, how much more span they can get on the building once they got the truck in place than the midship mount. They don't have to worry about the crush and can't crush or any of those other things. And we talked with one village fire department that has one on order that I guess the same company offered them the midship and the rear mount. And the rear mount, because of the way they designed it, the way they built them, the rear mount was $300,000 less. So it was like, maybe there's something worth looking at. So we added that a little bit. So the manufacturers are going to be given this. We've got a list of 6 or 7 manufacturers that we want to talk to on June 12th, which is Thursday night this week. We are meeting with E1 here. I got confirmed with Chief Miller as to what time that is. I believe it's 7 o'clock. I don't have that in writing. Even flights, I said, confirm it. And then the following week on the 18th, we are meeting with Pierce in East Greenbush as part of their, Pierce is doing a truck show over there, where they're going to have 5 or 6 of their new rigs are going to be there, and they're going to be showing off. We know that we believe they're going to have at least 2 aerials that we're going to be able to take a look at. But as part of that, we're going to be sitting down with them and going over this specification. But the specification list, we don't think is going to be a one pass for anybody. Everybody's going to want to take a look at it, they're going to discuss it, and then they're going to want to come back with their proposal. It's not, it's not going to be we're not going to walk away with come run back here and say, here we got a contract ready to sign. There's none of that going on. But this is the right step, the first of many steps that take us in the right direction, the right steps to place the truck. So,
What was these cruise neighbors?
the 18th. That's an event that I think starts at 3 in the afternoon at the park station. And it goes on, but I don't know what time we'll be set up with them to meet with them. I think it was listed from 3 to 7 or 3 to 5, and the idea was to sit down with them afterwards, but I don't know where you're at. So that's where we are with it. And as soon as we got a proposal from the rescue court too, renovation committee or rehab committee, I think we'd like to look that over and give that a go and bring it back to the board and say, this is what we want to do. Over that, where that is.
You have a proposal, AJ?
We do not have a proposal. We met with Jeff from Premier 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And we walked around here, we put all of our stuff together, and I'm gonna set time with past Chief Durivage to get that proposal sent out to him. So he's got a list that he's worked on. Chief Wilson shared with me the invoice that came back from the PM. So there's some items that came that we decided to decline that may go on that list. But I do, because of the way it was kind of throwing our laps and trying to catch up, I did not reach out to Bulldog. We did not go with anybody else besides Premier. I mean, I guess that's a question. Do we have to go out and get other quotes? Or can we just stay with Premier in good faith? I mean, what do we?
Well, I think it's a proposal for work to be done that's gonna go back out to potential bidders. So the fact that if you're comfortable with what Premier has put together, or whoever has put together and said, yeah, this is what we want done, then I think we'd be good with going to go out and get more formalized quotes with it.
I mean, setting with.
And then if Bulldog or Sutton or Pierce or anybody else that gets this proposal looks at it and says, yeah, I can see what they want to do, but this is how we do it. That's where they negotiate that with us in the final pricing and final sit down. So that's cool.
Okay, so I mean, he talked about a couple things too. It was a bit less, more body work than we really want to get into.
Mhm.
But I mean, he did say it would extend the life and the operability or the functionality of the truck. So with your truck being delayed, kind of pushed us out.
Yeah.
So then, it wasn't so much compressed and getting it in and getting it done. So.
Yeah, and I don't think they're gonna want, if it does go to Bulldog, I don't think they're gonna wanna, pull 9.6 out and back rescue 4.2.
Right, you're talking with Jeff, by the time yours comes back and done, you're talking late fall, maybe early winter.
Yeah, that's
Before
very,
it even went in.
that's very possible. That's very possible.
So, I mean, to get another thing from Bulldog and send it all out, I guess we have time now, but I was, in the beginning, we were.
Take a look at the invoices that got paid tonight, because,
Yeah.
you got them, because I mean, there's, as I recall, off the top of my head, there's like $6,500, so $5,500 or $6,500 worth of work, basically to the brake in the air system, the brakes in the air system. So that's stuff that won't have to be done as part of the rehab, because it's brand new work.
Yeah, we already had half that stuff. Was already-
The Coswell, air compressor unit got completely replaced, so that's a big chunk of change that's not gonna have to be part of the rehab.
So that's where we're at. Like I said, I'm gonna set some time with Chief Durivage and get that stuff sent out. So Jeff is supposed to be getting all that stuff together, ready. We're waiting for.
Well, we don't want to send it out to vendors until the board has had a chance to look at it, review it, and say, so if you can get it to us for the July meeting, that'd be perfect.
Consider it done.
Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.
All right, no questions for Rich at all about what's going on with the ladder?
I'll defer to Bob. I'll defer to you, Joe.
All right, buildings and grounds. Brian?
Nothing outside of what, the oil water
I
restrap.
think we've talked about everything that needed to happen at both stations. District personnel, Dan? Finance, insurance and audit? No, you got anything?
Should have our order report by the end of the month, has to be filed with the state on June 30th.
Long range planning, Brian?
Non-development topics.
No.
No, the only thing is, talking about that, I was just thinking, I know we've taken the Tahoes out, we put them back in as far as replacements go. I believe just kind of get on the radar that I think the last, long range plan, budget we had was that we were going to replace a Tahoe coming up in 1 year after, so something maybe start thinking about if we're still gonna do that, how and which one goes first. So I just might want to get down your radar soon. We're happy with this year.
I have nothing added. Policies, procedures, and memberships. Okay.
I had a meeting with Chief Wilson, Carl One Wilson. Sorry, just can't say Chief Wilson anymore, especially this room.
There's too many of them.
And Chief Sheehan briefly after the last meeting, kind of go over some qualifications. Do have some notes. I got put into a formal policy probably for next month, but basically it would be just short of it without you seeing all everything in it. Just creating more of a guideline for what an exterior firefighter would have. There was interest in adding a driver position, which doesn't really exist in low staff world. So looking in where it would have a certain set that would meet where you might just call them an engineer, similar to what Teresa does with maintenance, where you get a bunch of who pretty much their job is driver, would be tied calls, stuff like that. We do. How they keep earning the points legally. So, but there would be a qualification for what is a driver. And the bigger ones, the safety officer, create the we have some ideas, some of the classes here is going to kind of match it to more of a national standard as far as what the requirements would be for that. And change some verbiage in here, some stuff that we require that you don't really need. It's kind of fascinating, or it's Rick, I've been mentioning through, there's no reason why a wine officer shouldn't have to be fast certified, just like there's no reason that a police officer shouldn't be aerial company operations certified. So we're looking to just kind of clean it up a bit. So we asked for feedback the past few years, we got some good feedback, and I'm typing something up for next month's meeting. Review.
Thank you.
I'll send out ahead of time so we can get comments ready for the July meeting. Thank you.
Staff. I have nothing. Right.
No. Everything getting posted okay over here, the quarterly little staff, stuff like that.
Hold it forward, my reports to Bob, I can do that.
Duly noted with it.
Yes.
We're getting there.
Business operation and technology. I think we beat that one too pretty hard. Ready.
Yeah, no, we covered a lot. Just thank you to Jay and Joey for your contributions to the AV proposal. The only thing I think we'd ask, I mean, obviously, we're spending a lot of money on this, is that you guys come up with like some in-house procedures on who can utilize this, just, spending 25 grand, you just don't want everybody to start pushing buttons and change all the wires. I think you guys should have some control over that.
Development plan review. Good and quiet.
Just one thing really is that the conversion / building a church on Route 43 between Salisbury and Lake Road. It's kind of
The cult thing here?
it's close. I can't.
The things in the woods there on the field?
Well, from the right.
Yeah, off on the right,
Oh, yeah.
43, some $30,000 renovation projects. We have some Baptist, something or other church.
That was approved probably 10 years ago.
Well, we finally got a quasi site plan for it. Beyond that, subdivision of Mohammed's.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, just gonna build a house there. No, it is cutting the property a bit.
All right, recruitment and retention.
It seemed like there was lots of good activity. I'm sorry it's, what reported with the, that virtual activity that Rachel was gonna try, because that sounded pretty, pretty exciting, way of doing it, but it just didn't seem to gather any interest, but, you don't hit a home run your first time it's played, so, we'll see if that can improve. I do believe all the equipment, all the stuff that was ordered came in for both companies, the table covers, the pop-up tents, and all that stuff all came in. Everybody got their hands on it. So that's what's been ordered, received, and distributed. Beyond that.
Perfect. Public session? No, hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Take a motion to adjourn. All second it.
Aye.
Okay,
But now we got.
I don't know, I haven't been there all winter, and I missed something. But 15 years ago, we tried to have this corner down here fixed, where the trucks go out and bounce over the curb. State says it wasn't their fault. County didn't want to do nothing, and the town, they left it up to us. I noticed today that they dug everything out, and it looks like they're putting that curb right back in there again. Now, I don't know whether you people know about it, or anybody come here and what they're doing down there.
I believe they're putting across.
We've lost a couple of tires over it, and quite often the trucks come off of it. So there's something to think about, or do something, for 15 years, maybe now's the time.
I mean, I don't know if you guys got anything from the state or anybody about that whole project, because before Memorial Day, you had us all sign the road and there was nothing else, and next thing you know, they're all the way down the intersection here, with 5 people trying to direct traffic and it was nothing but a disaster. And we never knew nothing about it. So if there's somebody from Callan or DOT that we can maybe email, like know somebody.
Maybe we know somebody on staff,
Somebody knows.
somebody down.
Just say, you know,
that could get you.
I mean, this stretched out all the way out past, almost past your house. That's
So
like,
that
what's going on? And
Mine.
nobody knew about it, so the road signs come up.
There was a project in Eagle Mills, and the county didn't know about it until we saw signs go up there, so I'm understanding there's a new engineer handling the project, so I've asked him, to please let us know, so we can let Fire Department know, and stuff like that. But as we can tell.
But if we can get that curve cut back before they. You know, what, last time they did the work. The last time was they did the work and then we wanted them to change it, and they weren't gonna issue a change order on work that had already been done.
Probably gonna be done before we even make.
Well, I'll do it quick. I think you might know somebody.
They're kind of over tomorrow because that's all dug out. It looks like you're just changing the end there, like for the rest of the sidewalk.
Looks like they're putting
The
the
whole
handicap
strips there for the
on.
handicap people, yeah.
Even if they just cut it back a little, you know,
What I have
18
seen,
to 24 inches.
what I have seen in other truck traffic areas is they taper it down, like it's still concrete, and they put a metal traction plate on. So like somebody walks on there, they don't fall, but it's got a steel plate. So when trucks go over it, they're not hitting the curb, there's still a section of sidewalk protected by a steel plate. And then when the trucks have to make those tight turns, the plate supports the concrete. Because that curve, yeah, so it's taken out, I mean, it's probably a broken axle on the truck company. It's taken out tires.
Can you make a phone call tomorrow, see if you can find out what is going on and see if there's anything we can do to kind of alter the plan or to have the plan be considerate of our needs? And remind them that we tried to do this 10, 15 years ago, as Jim said, and we might as well find a big rock and talk to that because they weren't interested in changing anything.
All right.
Good point.
Thanks, Mr. Hannigan. Anybody else before we officially close this meeting? So John, the rest of good.
I'm just changing the times.
Perfect.
Two seconds.
Yeah, you did.